Welcome to that place where only you can go. That place is the journey within. The journey within. The journey within. Welcome to the journey within. The journey within. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to another edition of The Journey Within, brought to you by the host and author, Brian Skinner. And guess what? Happy New Year to everyone that's listening right now. It is a new year, new possibilities, new opportunities, all right? New changes, new everything if you put the work in. Again, Happy New Year, and thank you for listening to this second episode. This is the first episode of 2020, and I am so glad and elated that you have decided to tune in with us on today. That's right, you decided to tune in, and because you have tuned in, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you because you don't have to tune in, but you decided to, and I'm glad that you're with me and I'm with you. You may be in the car, you may be in your bedroom, you may be on the job, you could be a whole lot of places, you might be in the bathroom, I don't know. Keep that to yourself. But regardless of where you are, the backseat of a taxi cab, or Uber or a Lyft, or out in the field or in the mall, or you just waiting on somebody, I appreciate you for your time and your effort. I hope that this podcast, this episode specifically, will be all that it should be for your listening ears. Now, we have a lot of things to get into, right? First order of business is the book is coming out December of this year, Winning in the Gray. Winning in the Gray is all about allowing what's inside you to lead you exactly where you're supposed to be. In a nutshell, Winning in the Gray. The book talks about the many barriers and factors that you have to overcome, the many temptations that you're going to face, and just some of the shortcomings that you're going to have to interact with, and some of the things that you're going to have to overcome. And so the book points out, it gives you a roadmap of what gray is all about, right? So just to recap the last episode, I know we went over an overview of the book. We went over the systems, the black and white systems, and what that looks like. We're going to talk more about that in depth. We're going to talk about, we talked about what you can expect from this podcast. It can be controversial. It's fresh. I will be the first one to say this is not new information, but I am one who is just bringing it to your forefront, because just in case you're stuck in life, you can tune in to this podcast and also tune in to the book that can help give you some guidance and directions and show you where you are in your process of life. Winning in the Gray is for everyone if you're willing to put in the work, right? That is the key. You got to be willing to put in the work. So for today, the focus for our conversation for today is you're fired. All right? You're fired, right? So chapter 1, let's talk about chapter 1. Chapter 1 gives you a brief overview of what Winning in the Gray looks like. And I just gave it at the top of the hour. And I basically told you Winning in the Gray is allowing what's in you to lead you to your environment. So let me give you an example of what that looks like, right? In the book, I talk about these two examples, the eagle and the fish, right? The eagle and the fish. You got the eagle who flies in the air. You got the fish who swims in the sea, right? If you take those two animals out of their habitats, their environments, and you exchange their environments with each other, in other words, if you take the eagle and make the eagle swim underwater and you make the fish swim in the air, it's impossible. Why? Because they were not built to do those things. Eagles were not built to swim underwater, just as fish were not built to fly in the sky. So, what I am encouraging as humans, do what you were built to do. Do what is built in you, right? But we have so many people that suppress what we have deep within us. Why? Because they expect us to do what they want us to do. And so many times we fall victims to those systems. And I like to label them as black and white systems, because black and white systems says you either go left, you either go right. Do as I say. Do as I say. It says and does things like that, but it never encourages your own journey and your own destiny. And so today we're going to focus on chapter 2, which simply says you're fired. Because if you're going to go on this journey of gray, guess what? You're going to have to fire some people out of your life. I know you don't want to hear it. I know it's kind of hard, but guess what? You're going to have to fire some people out of your life, right? What I ask my listeners this question: has anybody ever been fired? Right? Whether you wanted to get fired, whether you didn't expect to get fired, firing is so important because it suggests that, hey, you were not competent. Things were not working out with you. It might have been a conflict. There's different variables of why you get fired. But let's go with the concept of the not being able to be competent to fulfill the role and duties of that specific position, right? All of us in life feed off of our environment, right? Let me say that again. If you're human, you feed off of your environment, right? Your environment can be your empowerment. It can also be your detriment, right? Your environment can give you life, and your environment can kill you, right? And so, I like the direction of this book because the big argument, nature versus nurture, and the book is marrying nature and nurture together. And so I talk about what's inside, and then I also talk about what's outside, right? So you need people that's going to encourage you and motivate you to be the best version of yourself. Get it? Be the best version of yourself, not folks that's pushing their own propaganda and using you for their beneficial needs, right? So you have to fire some folks out of your life. Why? Because those folks will be the reason why you're miserable and you're held back. Those folks will be the reason why you suppress the voice that was instilled in you. Those people will be the reason why that you have not cashed in your ticket to get on the flight to get to your destination. And so we're all held back. Again, environment plays a critical role, right? Now, some people listen to this, more than just the environment. Well, that's what I'm talking about tonight. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get on the inside, and chapter 1 goes in depth, talks about what goes on within us. But right now, tonight, just for this episode, if you could just stick with this episode, we're gonna talk about how environment is very crucial to your development and your growth. And so here, This podcast can be heard across many platforms. Apple products, Google products, Stitcher, Spotify. You can hear us all across these platforms. And so right now, if you are a listener right now, I encourage you to share this episode. If you can share this episode on your page, that would be lovely. If you can subscribe right now, that way when a new episode goes out, guess what? You will be notified. And that's awesome, right? So if you can subscribe right now, if you can share, that'll be awesome. That will be great. How can we get in contact with you, Brian? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can get in contact with me through Instagram, bskinner393. Then on Facebook, if you look up author and public speaker Brian Skinner, you like that page. Also, you can send me a message over that page. And also, email me. Yes, I respond to emails. Email me at bskinner393@gmail.com. Leave a comment. Maybe you want to get on the show. Maybe you want to add something. Maybe you want to share your story about how you won in the gray. Come on to the show. But you got to contact me first. Let's talk about it. Let's work out those kinks and those logistics. We get you on the show. Let's talk. Let's have this conversation. This is a conversation that needs to be had all the way from daycare all the way up to college. All right? And so this is an episode that's near and dear to my heart because I'm telling you, you just don't know how much environments impact you. Environments can, again, be your environment. It can be your detriment. How can environment be your empowerment? Environments can be your empowerment simply by telling you, hey, keep going, keep hope alive, keep pushing, keep going. Environments have a way of encouraging you, giving you resources to make it, helping you elevate to the next level. Environment, because people are doing well in your environment, it encourages you and pushes you to want to do well, right? Also, resources. I talked about how environments can add resources. See you struggling in a certain area, they can point you into the direction of the resource, right? Also, if you just happen to come up short on something, guess what? Environment can help you with that, right? Environments are the ones that, environments can be your therapy. Yeah, let me say that. It could be your therapy. Environments can be a therapist in a sense where it administers therapy. What do you mean by that? Well, the people in your life, those car rides, over the phone, talking over the phone, sitting in the car without the car running, you just sitting somewhere and you just talking. Somebody that'll be of comfort when you're struggling. Somebody that will cheer for you and celebrate you when you have achieved and accomplished what you have set out to accomplish and achieve. Environments are so crucial. And so many people have fallen victim to their environments. Just simply because you did not have the right people around you. How can environments be detrimental to you? Well, environments be the one, when the struggle do come up, they'll say things like this. I told you not to do it. I told you that didn't make no sense. I don't even know why you wasting your time doing all of this. Man, it's some real negative people out there, man. That is so detrimental to you. And you don't even know it. And you know what? Sometimes it be the ones that we have the deepest attachments to. We have these deep emotional attachments to, and we don't even know that they're a detriment to us. You can be going after something and they're steady distracting you. They'll say things like, you don't spend time with me like you used to. Or we used to do all of this together and now you don't have enough time for this. You done kind of changed. You acting phony. You acting fake now. No, it's not so much of that. I'm just focusing on what I'm trying to get to. So Environments can be either your empowerment or your detriment. Environments can give you resources. They can be your encouragement. They can be your comfort. They can be the ones who lift you up, pull you out, be a help, extend help. Environments can be detrimental because they'll be the ones say, I told you that wouldn't work. I don't know why you wasting your time. I don't know why you doing this. You act phony now. You act like you're better than everybody now. No, it ain't so much of that. It's just I'm focusing on what I'm focusing on. Right? Environments will do you wrong and do you dirty. Right? And so let's get into what these black and white systems, right? I told you a lot of times our environments consist of people who we have deep emotional attachments to, right? And so we have deep emotional attachments to friends, colleagues, family members, people on jobs. That's colleagues, right? Bunch of places, religious institutions, people that we just randomly meet in restaurants and in other gathering places, social media. I mean, these are people we have deep attachments. May not be as deep, but they serve some type of purpose, right? So how do you weave out who should stay and who should not go? Why is it important that you have people that encourage you, motivate you, who comfort you, who can add resources or point you in the direction of a resource? All of those things are critical because there will be times where you would like to give up. There will be moments where you will struggle. There will be moments where you're not patient, right? First of all, life is a process. Life is full of processes. Organizations have process, right? Life has a process, right? If I'm in a building that consists of 30 floors and I got to get to the 30th floor, there's a process for me to get there, right? First of all, I got to leave the place where I live at. I got to travel to get there. Once I get there, I have to find out if they got stairs or elevator, and hopefully they got an elevator if I'm going to the 30th floor. I know some of y'all be like, man, ain't you crazy? I ain't taking no stairs. But, alright, I got to find the elevator, right? Or if I don't find the elevator and I happen to take stairs, before I can get to that 30th floor, I got to take the first step. Your environment is important, right? I just described the process, but back to the environment piece. The environment piece is so critical, man, because again, these either be the ones that'll help push you up or the ones who help bring you down. So these people that we've formulated relationships, bonds with, connections with, the one thing that you have to do is take inventory of the people around you. Make a list. Go through the list of names of the ones who are there for you and the ones who are not there for you. Go for the one. Ask yourself the question, if I happen to find myself in a tight situation, who can I really call on? Right? You know, you could tell if somebody's there for you, somebody that's there to encourage you, somebody that's there to push you. Even if I happen to fail, you're not the one that's saying, nah, I told you couldn't do it. No, you like, hey, man, you gave your best effort. Maybe it wasn't your time. You got to look at your environment, man. I want to encourage everybody that's listening to this podcast right now. Look at your environment. Look at where you are, first of all. And then look at the people that you look for support. Look at the people around you. right? Ask yourself this question. Am I a better person because you're in my life? Are you a better person because I'm in your life? And there are some relationships, so in the dynamics of relationships, it's a give and take thing, right? I believe in the laws of reciprocity. It's a give and take thing, right? That in a relationship, both parties should be benefiting from it, right? And we're talking about like friendships, relationships, right? And just to let you know, this is for a mature audience, right? So, this conversation is very detailed because when you look at the people around you, you have to evaluate the ones around you. First of all, before you start this journey, make sure first of all, you got to check in with you. You have to make the decision with your mind and in your heart. Hey, I'm gonna take this journey. I'm gonna stick to this journey, for good or for bad, for better or for worse. For all my married folks out there, you said these wedding vows. I think you said for richer, for poor, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. Those friends, that level of commitment, those are the people I need to keep around. But those folks that steady trying to bring you down, and I'm telling you, some of the folks we grew up with, some of the folks we just look to for inspiration, some of the folks that we just admire so much, sometimes those folks are toxic to us. But because of how we feel about them, we become blind to the fact that they're not no good for us. Because see, when you on this journey, man, I'm gonna tell you this journey is not easy. Yes, it has its rewards, but yes, when you're going through the process and going through this journey called life, you're gonna need some people that's gonna be there for you. Yes, you're gonna need some people that's gonna correct you. Yes, you need some people that's gonna pull you to the side and say, "Hey, you wrong." Yes, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you need those folks. But what I'm talking about is those folks that are just critical. And I'm talking about from a negative standpoint. Because there's good criticism and then there's just negative criticism. Right? The negative criticism comes from for the fact that it's affecting our relationship. And then most times what people do is they internalize the fact that because you're not spending enough time with them and you're trying to focus your intentions and all of your power into whatever it is that you're doing, that is causing a disconnect in our relationship. Therefore, the person internalizes it as, you need to get rid of this. Now, be honest with you. Start to think about that thing for a second. Think about how many times people arguments have sprung out, all just simply because you're doing something different. Oh, you used to do this. Oh, you used to do that. You used to have the time to do this. You used to have the time to do that. Now you acting shady. Now you acting phony. You blah, 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 blah. Now it's clouded your mind and now you're off focus because now you're putting all your attention on that person. Real people in your life can recognize, man, they got this going on. They got that going on. You know what? That's still my friend. We're still there for each other. We still gonna be there for each other. I know they got my back. I'ma check in every now and then. I see where they are, and you know what? Anything that I can do to help, I will try to help as much as I can. Those are the people you want to keep you in life. But the folks that want to start arguments, chaos, then want to lie on you and all of that, guess what? Those are the folks you need to cut off. And sometimes some of them folks are the ones that we was raised with, some of those folks that we admire, some of the folks we look up to, some of those folks that we just put a lot of stock into. And so it's very critical and crucial. Good people, please listen to me. Because when you're traveling along this journey, you need some folks that's going to help you, that's going to extend that help. I don't need calamity. I don't need chaos. I already got to deal with calamity and chaos with what I'm dealing with already. So you think I want to come home? You think I want to come to a gathering and then I got to hear from your mouth? Man, I don't want to hear none of that. So anyway, a lot of times in your circle, there are those people that will continuously try to challenge in a negative light. Now, let me say this. You're going to have your folks that will give you constructive criticism. You got to know the difference between the folks who's giving you constructive criticism, and then you got to know the difference between the folks that's just being negative. Hey, the person that's giving you constructive criticism, hey, have you thought about it like this? What angle or what lens are you looking out of? Also, have you considered trying this? Have you considered doing it at this angle or doing it this way? That's kind of constructive. I think you could improve in this area. I think if you add more effort, I think if you add just a dash of something, it will work out even better. You know, those are folks that can give you those constructive criticisms. But the folks that are negative, these the folks that I don't even know why you wasting your time doing that. Oh my gosh, you ain't even making nothing out of it. It ain't yielding you anything. And it's like, man, whatever, right? Listen, the reason why you have to fire these folks, as I said previously, yes, you are going to have to deal with a lot of bumps and bruises of the journey alone. Because now, as you, first of all, if you're going to take this journey, you got to make up in your mind that this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to grow with. You got to make up in your mind and in your heart. All right. Once you make it up in your mind and in your heart, and what is it that I'm built to do? It's the thing. You may be working on a job now. You may be teaching. You may be driving a bus. You may be a counselor. You may be a mechanic right now. You may be doing a plethora of different things, but you're not, let me just say this to those that are listening, you're not just locked into that profession or that trade or that occupation. We have other things within us that we have to offer to the world, right? So there's other things that we can do that's within us. Yes, folks have a way of limiting you to what they are exposed to. So let me explain what that means. So, for example, if I'm a counselor, which I am a counselor, I'm a counselor, and that's all people see me as. That's what people will lock me into. Oh, he's a counselor, and that's all he can do. No, there's other things that I could do that's within me. That's just one of the functions of what I can do. And so the reason why you fire people, and I'm giving you the criteria of who you need to fire, who you need to let go, is because these people will continue to hold you down and hold you back from going on the journey that in the path that is designed for you. See, again, I'm not saying just go out and just do something like me. I'm not good with participating in like construction projects, though I will somebody like give me some guidance and say, hey, do this, do that. But I'm never gonna be the one that's gonna say, let's do that. That's not my thing. That's not my habitat. That's not my environment. Right? But if you talk about music or something to that effect, oh yeah, all right, let's get on. That's where I thrive at. It's one of the areas that I thrive in. So when dealing with folks, you have to fire folks. How many times and how often have I heard from people say, I could have gone further in school, or I could have did this if I would have just listened to whomever, if I would have just went and did that, guess what? I wouldn't be in the position or the predicament that I'm in right now. All because I listened to naysayers that truly did not have my back. People will lock you in and limit you to whatever they are exposed to from you. So I tell people, man, don't keep me in the box. No, there's a whole lot of things that's within me that needs to come out of me. You cannot hold down what's in me. It starts with the individual, and I'm telling you, if you're gonna take this path in this journey, once you make it up in your mind, this is what you're gonna do, and you done kind of figured out like what's plan A, what's that path is gonna look like, and plan A is gonna lead you to your plan B, and then so forth and so forth, and things that just fall together. You're going to need people on this journey that is going to encourage you. Now, let me warn people that's in the position of wanting to fire people. It is not easy to fire people. Let me say it one more time. It is not easy to fire people. I'm going to say it a third time. It is not easy to fire people. Firing people is a hard task to do. Why? Because we have these connections and these personal attachments to these people. And I just told you, these were people that you was raised with, people that came up in your household, and people that your family's with. I'm telling you, man, and now let me say this, because the book is not discouraging division or anything like that. I'm not. That's not where the book is headed. That's not what I'm looking to accomplish, anything like that. But I am serving as a person that I'm serving as that guard to help you along the way, that can help you and tell you and show you, like, man, I'm telling you, you will clash with those people if you do not fire people. And unfortunately, you will find out that it's some of the people that you have a deep love and desire for. Those are some of the very folks that are holding you back. That's right. I said it. It's the butt naked truth that you will find yourself in a predicament where you will have to fire some folks where it will truly hurt. I've had folks come and tell me, people share stories with me, such as, man, I had to cut my mama off. My mama was toxic. I had to cut my daddy off. My daddy was toxic. I had to cut my siblings off. My siblings was toxic. I had to cut these people off because they told me I couldn't do something that I was good at. And if I would have kept listening to them, I would be in a struggle right now. See, these people in our lives have great influence on a lot of decisions that we have, right? The paths that we take. Our paths are decided by the ones who influences us, by the ones that we have deep attachments to, decisions that we make. All of that is decided within those three categories, right? Firing folks is going to help you along the way, because what's going to happen is when you try to keep, you can't take everybody with you. And I had, and I had to learn that the hard way. You try to save everybody and try to take everybody with you, you can't. It's impossible. I'm sorry. If you listening to this podcast and you like, what? Like, no, I'm trying to save everybody. Guess what? I'm going to save you some debt. I'm going to save you a headache, and I'm going to save you some sleepless nights. Listen to me clearly. Read the book. It's coming out December of this year, 2020. Yes. Let me say it again. It's coming out 2020 of this year. Guess what? Guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to fire some folk. You cannot save people. Let me put it like this. You can save people. You can't save everybody. You can't take everybody with you, because you've graduated to a certain level. Those folks ain't graduated with you, right? Another reason why you have to fire folks is because guess what? As you continue to grow and as you continue to prosper, guess what? Your needs change. So as your needs change, guess what? Your circle starts to change. And so the folks that you've had around you this whole time, your needs done change. You will start to see a disconnect. And it will cause some type of friction. I'm telling you. See it all the time. It's been my experience as well that a lot of times, now I'm not saying this is like everybody, because I still got some folk that I'm just cool with. We just at different places in different areas of our lives, and we just have a mutual understanding. They give me the space, I give them the space. However, in terms of the folk that I latched on to you, Your needs will begin to change. This is why friendships over the length of time change, and you'll start to see, like, man, the stuff that used to attract you, sometimes you develop a lack of taste for it anymore. You'll start to see that your taste buds begin to change. Your needs will begin to change. At one season and at one transition, at one part of my life, you was effective. But as I'm changing, I need the folk around me to change as well. And a lot of times what happens is, because we wonder why we so disconnected. Needs have changed. Are you meeting my needs? See, most people would think, listening to this and then reading the book, I'm teaching you to be selfish. That's not what I'm passing along to you. That's not what I'm promoting. I ain't teaching you to be selfish. But I will say this. In some parts or another, you will have to be selfish. You do have to consider yourself. And unfortunately, in this society, we are taught to look to others, look to others, look to others. And my question is, who's looking under me about my needs? So let me be in the driver's seat and let me take control of it and let me be concerned about myself. Not saying that there's no folks not concerned about me. But if I'm putting out, and there's nothing getting put back into me by those folks that I'm connected to, I'm depleting myself. And so let me ask this question. Is there any folks out there that feels depleted? You doing what everybody has told you to do, and you still feel empty? You still feel there's a void? You still feel there's a gap? Why? Because you're not listening to what's inside of you. And then you don't have any folk that's looking to encourage you. Those folks that you want to keep that connection, cool. I hope it works out. But just in my own experience, and this is not everybody's experience, but you will find yourself in the moment and in the spot where I'm really going through a whole lot of hell. And I wonder why. Why does it seem like I have calamity and chaos all around me? I need to do something different. I need to do something else. Like, man, I need to change the crowd that I'm around. I told you the environment could either be your environment or your detriment. I've came across people, I promise you, college, other areas of life, I would be much further right now had I just stuck to my own guns. Had I just listened to certain people in my life that really had my best interests, I would be in a different place. I'd be in a better place. It's the truth. There's a movie, Kingdom Come, and LL Cool J was playing in this movie. I think his father died, and I think Jada Pinkett Smith was married to Anthony Anderson, and she kept telling Anthony Anderson in the movie, I'd be at a different place had I married this other guy. And I think her and Anthony Anderson had about 4 or 5 kids. I'd be in a different place if I would have just married this other guy. You don't want to be in that position where, man, I could have been so much further had I just went ahead and just followed what was right there for me. I mean, you make the choice. It all starts with you. Allow what's built within you to lead you to where you're supposed to be. But I'm telling you this, good people. You cannot take everybody with you. Everybody will not go with you. You will have to create categories for people. Because now you're going to have your people that you just go out with. And then you're going to have your people that you just do business with. And then you're just going to have your people that's going to actually support you. You support them too. Not teaching you to be selfish, but I'm teaching you to be mindful of yourself. I am. That in the book, it's encouraging that. That's why I'm saying you will have to fire some people. You have to give some people some 2-week notices. Hey, listen up. People want to talk about new year, new me. It's like, no, this comes like, what does that look like? This is one of the phases and stages that you will have to experience. Now, in the beginning, you're not going to fire everybody you need to. Over time, the journey will show you, reveal to you, discover. You will discover on this journey who you need to fire, because you're going to start to see that your path is going to begin to clash with those people. Let me say it again. Your path and your environment is going to begin to clash, because it's always going to be a problem. I'm telling you, with some folks just can't be happy for you. Some folks just ain't happy for you. It's going to be a major clash between your path and your environment. And that's why I'm encouraging folks, you got to fire some folks. Let me tell you, and firing folks, it comes with a price. Some folks will not understand. I'm telling you, you're going to get all types of things. People will spread rumors about you. People will lie on you. People will say a whole lot of things. Things that you like, man, I ain't even, what? Like, what are you talking about? Listen, don't take it personal. And I'm saying don't take it personal, and you will take it personal. But over time, you will discover that's their way of saying, I miss you, I want you around. But because we don't know how to communicate that a whole lot of times, it comes out in other ways, right? A lot of times folks do things like spread rumors and all of that and etc. because they want to know what you got going on, and they want to know why you're not including them. And, you know, I didn't exclude you. You excluded yourself. And that's just real. Folks will exclude themselves from you, right? The people that you need around you is the people that can help you with resources, people that can give you emotional support, people that can give you some direction, people that would uplift you in the time. Like, you're going to have you. So you got your one category of people that will just support you, will be a good sounding board when you're going through discouragement, when you're going through disappointments. Those are the people that you need around you. Then you got your people that have resources, people that can point you into the direction of resources, that can help you out, because you will need help. And all these folk talk about, I don't never need no help from nobody and all that. You lying. I'm sorry, you lying. I'm sorry. You need help from somebody. I'm telling you, you're going to need help along this way, man. You cannot do this on your own. You're going to have to get point into some directions. You're going to have to find out some other things that will make your journey a little bit more easy. So if you got the mindset, I don't need no help from nobody, I don't want nobody and all that, man, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to struggle. That's just like saying you're going to be in the ocean and you don't need not anything, that you just going to make it. No, you're going to need something. You're going to need a boat. You're going to need an oxygen tank. You're going to need something. You're going to need some assistance from some folk, man. And I'm telling you, on your path, I will say this, on your path, the folks that you fired before, during the path or before the path, those folks will be replaced. Let me say it again. The folks that you fired before the path or during the path, those folks will get replaced. I'm telling you, them folks will get replaced. It is what it is. Consider yourself, you know? And a lot of times we just don't do that. People will lock you in and limit your ability, all because they're exposed to you doing one thing, and it's other things that you want to explore other areas. And now all of a sudden, you can't explore those other areas because those folks have a problem with it, because you didn't get their permission. You don't need nobody's permission to do what's inside of you. What's inside you is going to give you the permission. It's going to give you the power. And see, what happens is when you have those folks and you have not fired those folks, they will distract you. They will take you off your path. And now you're more focused and you investing your energies in them and not on you. You need some folks that's going to invest some energy, some time, some resources, some support in you. In the path, the journey will enable that to happen if you allow it to. And so I just want to encourage everyone out there, you need to fire some folks. I've gave you a rundown. Let me give you a summary. Number one, when you don't fire those folks, they will cause distractions. Number two, they will limit what you can do. So they'll never give you the space to open up and discover other areas and things that you can do in your life. Number three, they will deplete you, because now you will find yourself in a position where you're giving out more energy to their chaos. And you're taking away energy that will endorse, invest in your peace. The journey in itself is tedious in itself, because now along the journey, you're going to have battles within yourself. A lot of doubt, a lot of distrust, a lot of anxiety, overwhelmness. But that's why on the journey, guess what? You on the journey, you will get those folks that will be there for you. There are some folks before the journey that will be there for you. That is a constant support for you. I'm telling you, I don't know everything, but I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. I've experienced it. Some folks will make you better, and some folks will take you under. The question is, can you identify it? And so with this show today or tonight, whichever part that you, whatever day or time, whatever time you're listening to this, guess what? You got to ask yourself just this question. Is this for me? Are these folks here to support me? Are you trying to be an entourage? Or are you trying to be folks that invest in me? Not teaching selfishness, but just teaching you to focus on yourself. So hard for us to do that. So hard to see ourselves in the mirror. We could tell everything that's wrong with everybody, but when it comes to facing ourselves and our demons and our shadow and whatever, we just can't do it. Before you start this path, guess what? You're going to have to get used to looking at yourself in the mirror. If you're going to really grow, see, people talk about elevation, increase, and all of that, and new things and prosperity and all that. But you know what? It's painful to get to those places. It takes some sacrifice. It takes discipline. It takes commitment. It takes perseverance. It takes endurance. Because things will get in your way. Things will distract you. That's why I said we don't have time to be arguing with folks, talking about something. You ain't spending enough time. You ain't doing this. You ain't doing that. You're fired. In fact, right now, I'm going to practice it a couple of times with you right now. On three, we're going to say you're fired. 1, 2, 3. You're fired. 1, 2, 3. You're fired. Let's slow it down. 1, 2, 3. You're fired. Right? I'm telling you, folk that you was raised with, I'm here to tell you, I'm telling you, and you know what? A lot of times we face a whole lot of hell from family. Now, if that's not your family, cool. But you will get a lot of jealousy and envy from family, and a lot of times you find yourself not getting a lot of support. Now, this is not everybody's story, and if that's not yours, then cool. Then it's some of the folks that you was in the neighborhood with. Some of the folk want to talk about your upbringing. You know you was too poor. You know you too slow. You know you ain't do well in school. Ain't nobody got time for that. Some of the folks that you worship with, whatever it is, synagogue, church, or whatever temple, whatever it is, or whatever. Some of the folks that you very well, I'm telling you, some of the folk you think you uppity and you think you more better than all that. You trying to show somebody up, and it's like, man, nobody. See, that's your problem. They need to change their mindset, and that's why it's gonna be a constant clash, because you're gonna find yourself clashing with these minds. People are not in the same area as you. See, some people got elementary degrees, and you got a doctorate degree. Not talking about literally the piece of paper, but the mindset is just different. Some people just graduated from elementary and just stopped there from an emotional, social, cognitive standpoint. Some people are just stuck in the elementary phase. Some folk are just stuck in high school phase. Are you with me? I'm telling you, you would need to fire some folks. And so the question is that I want to propose to you: who do you need to fire? Just gave you a rundown why you need to fire folks. Who do you need to fire? Start looking around. And this how you do it. Just start discussing like, I'm trying to, I got this invention, or I got this path I want to do. I want to go back to school. I want to take up this trade. And then folks start to say, you too old, you too young, you too fat, you too skinny. Don't you think you waited a little bit too long to try to do that? Say it with me on three. 1, 2, 3. You fired. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you with this thing. Man, there's some folks that's just weighing you down. You don't have to. Those folks will be replaced on your path with folks that are there for you, because now the folks on your path see where you're going and where you're going to be. It's so hard for folks to see that was in your later life, to see what your path and what the vision is, because all they can see is what they see right before them. This is not everybody, by the way, good people. So I'm not being linear in my thinking. I'm just giving you all types of scenarios. In my own personal life, I had to get rid of some folk, and it's just real, man. Nothing personal. Well, let me take that back. Personal, yes. Because I thought that you was a great influence for me, and you wasn't. You just taking up space. And then, like I said, you just got a lot of people just collecting dust. They just there. Ain't serving no purpose, ain't doing nothing. They just there. But meanwhile, I ain't doing nothing for you. Not teaching you to be selfish, just teaching you to focus on yourself. All right? And so, again, reach out to me. Subscribe this podcast. Give me your comments. Comment on the podcast. Shoot me an email, bskinner393@gmail.com. Hit me up on Instagram, bskinner393. Hit me up on Facebook at author and public speaker Brian Skinner. All right. I'm going to post this episode in Facebook. Comment, share, subscribe. If you disagreed about something, or if you want to add more information, I welcome it. Let's have this conversation. You want to be on the podcast where we can have this discussion. Let's do it. Again, subscribe, share, tell some people about this. If you want to hit me up, you want to email me personally, bskinner393@gmail.com. Instagram is bskinner393. The Facebook fan page is author and public speaker Brian Skinner. Make sure that you like the page, follow the page. That way you can keep up with some of the stuff that you're doing. You could keep up with the latest updates about the book and about the podcast. Now listen, I'm going to put out another episode before January is out. All right. And we're going to get into chapter 3. I believe chapter 3 is entitled You Can't Hear Me. Yeah. Other chapters, swimming in the ocean without a life jacket or a light or a boat. What does that entail? Right? Mirrors. I got a chapter called Mirrors. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to get into more discussions. Again, we're going to have guests on the show, people that are famous in my eyes, that are doing great things out here, that will not be recognized in a public or social view, but their work speak for themselves. These are some of the folks I went to school with, some of the folks that I work with, and then just some people that I've discovered on my path, And so we just want to further this conversation of what winning in the gray looks like, because I do know and understand that there are other lenses and perspectives, and I'm giving you my lens and my perspective and my experience, and I just value the conversation of those who share their perspective and their lenses on this platform. And so I'm looking to just have this great discussion. I'm looking forward to dialoguing. Again, you can comment on the Facebook page at author and public speaker Brian Skinner. You can comment on there. Make sure there's a comment section. If you disagree, cool, bring it on. Hey, if you do agree, if you got a story of winning in the gray where you had to take your own path and you didn't have that much support, but you found support on the path, man, come on in the room. Come on, I'm telling you. And I know the folk that are listening to this show or that will listen to this show, guess what? Done experienced some of these things that I've detailed in the show. I know they have. Comment. That's who I want to hear from. This is what makes this conversation fruitful. Right? The only expert of your life is you. Because you lived it. You see it. And there's a lot of things that if you could have avoided, that you would have known. And if you can do things all over again, you would. Share this with your high schoolers. Share these with people that are in college. Share these with folk that are out of college, that have transitioned out. We're going to deal with a whole lot of stuff. I might dedicate a show pertaining to the day after graduation, what that looks like. Because a lot of times we've been sold that you get this great education, you're going to get a great job. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it don't. We're going to get into some stuff, man, and we're going to just deal with some stuff. But, hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. You can't work on others until you work on yourself. And, again, let me just, for the last time, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Again, contact me at bskinner393@gmail.com. Hit me up on Instagram at bskinner393. But more importantly, hit me up on Facebook at author and public speaker Brian Skinner. Comment, like, and share. Don't just view the page. Please, I encourage you. Like and share the page. Subscribe to this podcast. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. How can I make this podcast, this show, even better? What can I do? Is there things that should be discussed on the show that you want to hear? Hit me up. Let's talk about it. All right? Until next time, live, laugh, and love. And guess what? Live life. And guess what? Win great. The journey within